Ladies and gentlemen, life is full of connections, relationships, and opportunities, but how we approach them defines the quality of our lives. Sometimes, in our quest for love, respect, or success, we find ourselves in a position where we feel compelled to beg, chase, or overextend ourselves. Today, I want to share why we must rise above these actions and step into our worth. True worth really defines what we have to prove, both for ourselves and for other people. Faking what we need to seek from others, nor is it something we have to prove. It is an intrinsic quality deeply rooted in who we are. The moment we look outside ourselves for validation, be it through others' approval, material possessions, or achievements, we risk losing touch with our inherent worth. Begging or chasing, whether for attention, love, or recognition, undermines the truth that we are already enough. It places the power of defining our value into the hands of others, turning our self-worth into something conditional rather than constant. When you beg for someone's approval or chase their attention, you inadvertently communicate that their opinion of you matters more than your own. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where external validation becomes the yardstick of your self-esteem. But the reality is that no amount of begging, chasing, or external recognition can fill the void left by self-doubt. True fulfillment begins when you understand that your value is not dependent on what others think of you, but on the relationship you have with yourself. To value yourself means to honor your boundaries, respect your time, and invest in your growth. When you stop begging for someone's acknowledgement, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval. You realize that the people who truly matter, the ones who see you for who you are, will recognize your worth without you having to plead for it. The same applies to opportunities. Doors that align with your purpose and potential will open when you are ready, not because you force them to. If it's important to recognize that begging and chasing often stem from fear. Fear of being alone, fear of rejection, or fear of missing out. But living in fear only limits you. Instead of focusing on what you might lose if you stop chasing, consider what you stand to gain. Imagine the peace of knowing that you don't have to fight for what's meant for you. Think about the freedom that comes from stepping into a space where you are appreciated without conditions. Owning your value is not about arrogance, it's about confidence. It's about knowing your strengths, acknowledging your imperfections, and still choosing to believe in your worth. This belief allows you to approach life with a sense of calm and assurance. You no longer feel the need to cling to people or situations that aren't aligned with your true self. Instead, you attract what resonates with your energy and vision. The world responds to how you treat yourself. When you carry yourself with dignity, others are more likely to treat you with respect. When you believe in your worth, you inspire others to see it too. This doesn't mean life will always be easy or that rejection won't hurt, but it does mean that you'll have the resilience to move forward, knowing that rejection is not a reflection of your value, but a redirection towards something better. Your value is not negotiable. It's not determined by someone's attention, approval, or acknowledgement. It's yours to claim and uphold no matter what. Chasing something or someone often feels like the right thing to do when we're driven by desire, ambition, or fear of missing out. However, when we chase, we sometimes move toward what may not be aligned with our true purpose or what is genuinely meant for us. Chasing creates an energy of desperation, one that often leads to frustration and disappointment rather than fulfillment and success. Life has a natural flow, and what is truly meant for you will align with your path when the time is right, without the need for frantic pursuit. When we chase, we often focus on the external, on outcomes, people, or achievements we believe will bring us happiness or validation. This external focus can cloud our judgment and pull us away from our inner clarity. Instead of being rooted in confidence and self-awareness, chasing places us in a reactive state. We expend energy trying to control or force situations, which can lead to exhaustion and disillusionment. True alignment, on the other hand, comes from a place of trust. Trust in yourself, your journey, and the natural unfolding of life. The act of chasing often implies a lack of trust in our own worth or the belief that we need to prove ourselves to obtain what we desire. For example, when we chase relationships, we might believe that if we work hard enough, we can make someone see our value. But relationships built on chasing are often imbalanced. The effort becomes one-sided, leaving us feeling depleted and undervalued. On the other hand, when we focus on being our authentic selves and living in alignment with our values, we naturally attract connections that are mutually fulfilling. This principle applies not just to relationships, but to opportunities as well. Consider a career or goal you've been chasing relentlessly. While ambition is important, there's a difference between pursuing your dreams and forcing an outcome. Sometimes chasing leads us to settle for something less than what we truly deserve because we're so focused on achieving a specific result. When we take a step back and focus on becoming the best version of ourselves, developing our skills, nurturing our passions, and staying true to our purpose, we create the conditions for opportunities to find us in ways we couldn't have anticipated. Chasing also prevents us from appreciating the present moment. We become so fixated on what we're pursuing that we fail to notice the opportunities, relationships, and joys already present in our lives. By stepping away from the chase and grounding ourselves in gratitude, we open our eyes to the abundance that surrounds us. This shift in mindset not only brings greater peace, but also sets the stage for attracting more of what we truly desire. Let go of the chase. Trust that what is meant for you will come. Not because you ran after it, but because you prepared yourself to receive it. Alignment is about clarity, patience, and faith. When you focus on living authentically, the right people, opportunities, and outcomes will flow naturally into your life. Overgiving, especially when it comes to attention, time, or effort, often comes from a place of wanting to feel needed, loved, or validated. While generosity and kindness are virtues, there's a fine line between giving out of love and giving out of a need for acceptance. When you find yourself writing, calling, or making excessive efforts to gain someone's attention or approval, you risk creating an imbalance in the relationship dynamic. This overextension often leads to exhaustion, frustration, and a sense of inadequacy, rather than the connection or recognition you desire. Overgiving often signals a lack of boundaries. When you prioritize someone else's needs over your own repeatedly, you send a message, whether intentional or not, that your time and energy are less valuable than theirs. This can lead to a one-sided dynamic where you're constantly pouring into someone who may not reciprocate in the same way. Relationships, whether personal or professional, thrive on mutual respect and effort. When one person is doing all the giving, it not only creates resentment, but also diminishes the genuine connection that relationships require. At its core, overgiving is rooted in the fear of being unloved or unworthy. The act of constantly reaching out, writing, calling, or making endless efforts can come from a belief that if you don't, the other person will lose interest and the connection will fade. But this fear-driven behavior often has the opposite effect. People tend to respect and value those who respect themselves. By overextending, you risk coming across as desperate or needy, which can push people away rather than draw them closer. True, meaningful relationships are built on balance and reciprocity. When you step back from the urge to overgive, you create space for the other person to show up and invest in the relationship. This doesn't mean you stop caring or showing kindness. It means you give in ways that honor both your needs and theirs. You deserve connections where your efforts are met with equal energy, not ones where you feel like you're constantly trying to earn someone's time or attention. Overgiving also drains your emotional and mental resources, leaving little room for self-care or personal growth. The time and energy spent chasing someone else's approval could be better invested in yourself, pursuing your passions, nurturing your well-being, and building a life that fulfills you. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally attract relationships and opportunities that align with your true worth. The key is to give with intention, not out of fear. When you find yourself tempted to overextend, pause and ask, am I doing this because it feels right or because I'm afraid of losing something? Let that awareness guide your actions. You are not required to overexert yourself to prove your value. Healthy relationships, whether in love, friendships, or work, don't require you to overgive. They require you to show up as your authentic self and to receive as much as you give. Silence is one of the most powerful tools we often overlook. In a world where we feel compelled to explain, justify, or constantly reach out, silence speaks volumes. It can communicate strength, self-respect, and a deep understanding of your own worth. When you stop begging, chasing, writing, or calling, you give yourself and others the gift of reflection. This pause is not about indifference or stubbornness. It's about honoring yourself and creating space for clarity to emerge. When you pull back and embrace silence, you shift the dynamic of how others perceive you. Constant effort to maintain contact or seek attention can dilute the value of your presence. On the other hand, silence allows others to recognize what it feels like to not have you actively filling the space. In this absence, they may begin to understand your importance and the depth of your contributions to the relationship. Silence invites others to reflect on their own actions, choices, and feelings toward you. Silence is also a way to protect your energy. When you stop overextending yourself, you conserve the emotional resources that may have been spent on people or situations that aren't serving you. This creates room for self-reflection and growth. Instead of filling the silence with words or actions aimed at gaining someone's attention, you can focus on your own needs, passions, and well-being. This self-focus not only strengthens your sense of self, but also reinforces your boundaries. Choosing silence doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting the process. If something or someone is truly meant for you, your absence will not push them away. It will encourage them to step up. Silence gives the other party an opportunity to take initiative, to show their interest and effort without being prompted or pressured. This balance is essential for building genuine, mutually respectful connections. At the same time, silence allows you to listen to yourself, to your intuition, and to the situation as it unfolds. When you're constantly speaking or acting, it's easy to overlook the subtle cues and signals that can guide you toward the right path. In silence, you find the clarity to assess whether a relationship, opportunity, or situation aligns with your values and goals. It's in this stillness that you discover what truly matters. Silence is not a weapon, but a form of self-respect. It's a way of saying, I value myself enough to step back and allow what's meant for me to come naturally. It's about choosing peace over chaos and clarity over confusion. In the end, silence is a powerful form of communication, not only with others, but with yourself. It's a reminder that you don't have to constantly prove your worth through words or actions. Sometimes, the strongest message you can send is the one that comes from simply being still. Energy is your most valuable resource. It fuels everything you do, your work, your relationships, your passions, and even your ability to dream. Yet many of us don't realize how often we squander our energy chasing things or people that don't truly serve us. Every time you beg for someone's attention, chase an unaligned goal, or overextend yourself in a situation that doesn't reciprocate, you drain this precious resource. Protecting and directing your energy wisely is not just an act of self-care, it's a profound declaration of your self-worth. Think about your energy as a currency. You only have so much to spend each day, and once it's gone, it's gone. When you spend it chasing things that aren't meant for you, you miss opportunities to invest it in yourself and in the people and endeavors that genuinely enrich your life. The question to ask yourself is this: are you spending your energy wisely? Or are you letting it be depleted by situations and people that don't give back? Every action you take and every thought you dwell on requires energy. When you repeatedly write, call, or reach out to someone who doesn't reciprocate, you're pouring your energy into a one-sided effort. This not only leaves you feeling drained, but also creates an imbalance. Relationships, whether personal or professional, should be a two-way street. When you find yourself doing all the work, it's a clear sign that your energy is being misdirected. You deserve connections where your efforts are met with equal enthusiasm and respect. Similarly, when you chase goals or opportunities that don't align with your values or passions, you're wasting energy that could be better spent elsewhere. Sometimes we pursue things out of fear of missing out, fear of failure, or fear of not being enough. But when you let fear dictate where your energy goes, you're less likely to achieve the outcomes you truly desire. Instead, focus on aligning your energy with your purpose. When your actions come from a place of authenticity and self-awareness, you not only conserve energy, but also maximize its impact. Protecting your energy doesn't mean withdrawing from the world or avoiding challenges. It means being intentional about where you direct your focus. It means saying no to things that don't serve your growth or happiness and saying yes to the things that do. It's about recognizing that your energy is finite and treating it as something precious. This might mean setting boundaries with people who drain you, stepping back from activities that don't align with your goals, or simply taking time to recharge when you need it.